August 31st. Here's where the story ends. As was tradition for her and her friends, during the first day of school, Simmer sat down to a lunchtime picnic in the park grounds across the street from her school. Sitting underneath the shade of a shady tree, they ate sandwiches and chatted about their time, while the radio one of them had brought along was set to Radio Nova. Playing over the speakers was Dancing in Heaven, or Roll Bebop, the latest single from Midnight Moondust. To which I say, what's playing in my head is Brand New Day from Sailor Moon. Got up this morning on the right side of the bed. You were actually there to film the video? Bryce was asked, stunned after Simmer explained a bit about the song. Simmer nodded. Yeah, my sister knows Midnight Moondust personally, and apparently Miz is an old friend of hers or something. Anyway, since we were in LA, we went down and filmed a music video. You'll see both me and Sunny in the background of the video of your gift. Night Lily shook her head and grinned. Sounds like you had a far better time than you were expecting. I mean, you were originally going to attend your grandmother's funeral, right? Beachcomber took a bite of her sandwich and leaned against a tree. Yeah, as he was broken up his head about that too. All of a sudden, you literally find your long-lost twin sister. I mean, that's just mind-blowing, you know. Well, technically, we are both the surviving triplets. Well, I guess you could call us twins for the sake of argument, Simmer said, thinking of sunset. Well, given the 9-hour time difference, I was probably nestled asleep in her bed right now. You haven't told him much about her yet. She's got the same name as you, right? Yeah. Apparently that was just grand coincidence that her kidnap has on that, Simmer explained. But since she prefers to go by her first name, and I go by my second, it's easiest to tear us apart. Well, she started than me. The team brought out her phone and thundered over a picture of both her and her twin, showing it to her friends. Well, she is almost like a foot taller than you, Simmy. Thanks for making me feel short, BT, Simmer grumbled. Well, she also looks more, developed than you. Like she's reached her adult body faster, Priceless commented. Hey, thinks she looks like you in a couple of years or so. Yeah, she's probably more developed because of all the chemicals in her diet back home, Night Lily added. Unfortunately, American companies puts all kinds of shit in everything. Yeah, probably, Simmer agreed. Still, it doesn't bother me. We figured out that she's the older of us, so I guess it sort of makes sense she looks older. So what's she's like? Simmer allowed fond memories of the girl she considered her sister. She sees Sunset again someday. They were, after all, family. You know what? The flame-haired girl asked. When her friends nodded, Simmer could only say one thing. To be honest, I guess the best way I could describe her is, well, magical. Sunset was the last to come down the stairs. Given she didn't take a shower in the morning, yay for cleaning the spells and natural alcorn perfection. Allowed her to sleep in while the other 5 girls her age slowly ran up the water bill. Finally, however, her phone chimed in, telling her it was time to get up, which she reluctantly did. She cast her spell, slipped on her clothing, and went downstairs to begin her day. As she did, she looked at everyone, already seated around the table. Morning, Sleepy, Velvet says her eldest daughter approached them. Hey, hello, Sunset said as she plopped into a chair and grabbed a scone. When she said to her father, she was the only one not in uniform and business attire. I feel out of place. Well, you could switch over to Zachary with us, Twilight teased. Not in your life, sis. Well, this should be fun. We're juniors now. The experienced ones to the school, Sanaa squealed. All the little freshmen are going to come up to us and ask for advice, and I'm going to look down and say, survive. She narrowed her eyes as she said it, taking on a gruff, hardened look. She then relented and added, and when they're scared out of their wits, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to laugh. Sonny, Octavia sighed. Kidding! Seriously, though, it is kind of sad you can't join us, sis, Twilight told her. You make it sound like I'm going away, Sunset told her. Trust me, I'll be home tonight. Things will be okay. Well, I won't be here, Night said. We're filming in upstate New York this week, followed by a few days in LA, so I won't be home until next week. At least you're coming home, Adagio told him. We went through years of that not happening. I know. I wish I could have prevented that. And I told her, well, all I could promise is that I'll come for all of you. Dacia rushed over and threw her arms around his neck and kissed him on the cheek. That's all I'm hoping for. When everyone looked at her oddly, she gave a smirk and said, so am a daddy's girl. So I figured that one out by now, folks. What else? Sunset commented as she must have a bagel. Then she looked at the time. Well, I need to get going to Flarshide's old place. Apparently Mr. Discord's got something planned. Velvet rolled her eyes as she took a drink of coffee. Why am I not surprised? So she then looked around and said, well, before you go, sweetie, I want to take a picture of all of you so I can send it to your grandparents. She pulled out her phone and had them all stand and line up. Really, Mom? Spike asked uncomfortably. Just see, Spike. Pictures of grandkids are like catnip to grandparents, Sonata told him. My grandmother has tons of pictures of me and my sisters back in Vancouver, and it seems like she never has enough. I guess I'll put that theory to the test in a decade when Shiny and Katie have their kids. Velvet Samuel smiled as he gestured for the kids to all put together for a shot. Then I can wait on you all. Collective groans were uttered, and Velvet chose the exact moment to take a picture. You're not going to send a picture like that, are you? Octavia asked. My grandmother would have a fit. Relax, Tavi. I don't even have a way of contacting your maternal grandmother, so you're safe for now. I'm just as concerned about my other grandparents getting hit as well, Octavia Karen. Spike, Twilight, and Sunset, regarding that lady Kenobi, shuddered at that. Well, that's right. She hasn't met our paternal grandparents yet, has she? Datio asked. Aunt Velvet, do you have a plan for them to come visit soon? Not sure, but that would be a wonderful idea. I'll see if I can get my parents to come up for a weekend. But enough of that. You'll all have to go to school, and I need to get Spike to school and then drop off Night at the airport before I go to my own job. She sighed. Looks like life is back to normal. Knight gave his wife a loving kiss on cheek. Thank God for that. I've got a smile on my face, and I've got four walls around me. I've got the sun in the sky, all the water surround me. Oh, you know, yeah, I win now and sometimes I lose. I've been battered, but I never bruise. It's not so bad. And I say, way, hey, it's just an ordinary day in a state of mind. At the end of the day, you just got to say, it's alright. You have been holding on to that for far too long. I know I have. It was kind of embarrassing, really. Raspberry Barrel had been back from her vacation for Earth for a week for now. Had only been home for 1 day before she was called off to Arts Mace's business. Today's trip was to Endless Valley, a tiny town near Siren Shoals, where an all too familiar city and crystals had been growing. Strangest thing was, she'd never been to this location before. Accompanying her was a huge, bulking Earth mare by the name of Embiggen, who, by the looks of things, could be described as the theoretical offspring of Bog Biceps, Figmac, and Flareshide all at the same time. The massive mare was even looked more shy than a retiring Pegasus, and Raspberry couldn't even figure out how that was possible, much less for it to be a guard. Well, there's really only one career path given my size, she said, blushing. I really don't like it. I really don't want to hurt anybody, but ponies think I'm big and scary, and I guess it counts. She would have hid behind her mane if it wasn't for the fact that guard grooming regulations requires mares to have short manes, and her bobbed mane didn't allow the luxury of hiding. Well, I'm sure this is a routine thing, so I really wouldn't want to worry about it, Raspberry said. Glad she convinced Heliodor to stay at home. The rocking, unending seaside around here was nearly devoid of any greenery or vegetation, and likely would have bored him to death. For that matter, it really looked as though it would have bored any pony to death, so it made her wonder why any pony was settled down here. We're almost there, the lead Pegasus pulling the chariots called back. Out here, there was no train service, so in order to get there in a timely fashion, she had to arrange for a chariot. Oh my god, this fic excellently explains why we're using a chariot and not a train. You see, it is possible. Thankfully, there were plenty of guards available, several who wanted to hear the story about the dead mayor who didn't really die. Her extended trip to Earth had caused pretty interesting talk around the guard garrison, and she wanted to put those rumors to rest. After circling a few times, the chariot finally came down on some dunes in front of a very small seaside village, the kind one usually saw in paintings or postcards. Not quite a fishing village, given the telltale signs of seaweed farming offshore, but enough to make her wonder why this place was called Endless Vale. Because there's a valley just under the surface of the ocean where we all grow our seaweed, a voice said. Raspberry saw an older pony standing there. Probably the same age as Granny Smith, she had to guess. Whereas Granny Smith was all frailty and age, this man looked like he had a look of eternal youth, and the age same time. All the wrinkles, but with a body healthy enough condition, she was still nearly as fit as a guard. Hello, I am Sargasso, mayor of this little town. You must be the Archmagus. An honor and pleasure to meet you, your highness. They bumped hooves, and Sargasso signaled for a few of her people. They'll take care of your folks while we attend to business. And what a doozy it is. Thanks. Raspberry says he follows Sargasso, so what seems to be a problem? Well, about a year ago, I had this lovely opal brooch my daughter got me from Canterlot. She works for the palace, one of the princess's maids. Got me this wonderful brooch for Verity for you, for my birthday. It's just lovely, you know. Unfortunately, I lost it for a few days later. Rarity for you. Isn't that the Rarity's jewelry business? The one I made gems for? A pit began to sink into her stomach. Let me guess. A precise bipolar obsidian? The mayor gave an awkward grimace. Not quite. Sargasso stayed as he pointed to the area in front of them. First thing Raspberry wondered was how the hell she missed something as large as that from the air. That thing must be the size of Twilight's Nightmare Castle, she thought. A massive latticework of black obsidian, bigger and taller than the castle, tore out from the center of town, carrying at least 3 homes with it. The ground around it swelled with deep red energy, and it looked evil. Raspberry could sense her own magic there, but something had, for lack of a better word, contaminated. She'd never seen anything like it before. As to answer her questions, Sargasso mused. Bebop Blister. She used to be a maid as well, before she retired and moved back here. Thinks it must have fallen to Hunger Stones somehow. Hunger Stones? Raspberry asked. You're not familiar with them, Your Grace. Sargasso immediately shut up, as if she was now withholding something she did not wish to talk about. This is Sargasso. I am Archmagus of Equestria. There's little I don't know about the magical intrigues of the crown. If you're hiding something from me... No, the older mayor exclaimed. No, I mean... Do you know about the hooves? I do, Raspberry stated. Do you know about the majority of them come from this region, correct? When the look on Raspberry's face indicated she didn't know that, Sargasso gave a terse smile and said, Endless Vale is a kelp farming village. We're composed of the candidates that weren't fit to be part of the hooves, or for various reasons have chosen not to be that. In this town and some of the others on the Iranian coast, we still have our myths and legends, like that of the Frozen Tomb or the Hunger Stones. She gestured forward, and the two continued walking. Both those sound ominous, Raspberry admitted. Yes, the Frozen Tomb is supposedly the burial place of the Queen that enslaved my people until Her Highness freed us. Sargasso explained. The Queen and her generals, or daughters, now Sir Winston's corrected the myth, had mystic weapons called Hunger Stones. Precious gems filled with an arcane power that, well, you know what T-Rex did to your ponies by stealing their magic, correct? The Hunger Stones were said to be capable of doing that, and so much more. Darkness calls to darkness, I believe. I think whatever it was in that Rarity for you zone must have done resonate with the Hunger Stones, or something magical in that area. You believe the Hunger Stones are real? Your Grace, I lived for a very long time, and even though I have not had the honor of serving as one of Her Highness's hosts, I know there are things that go bump in the night. Things that ponies shrink from, and things that make our kind fear. Claws that scratch and teeth that gnats. She looked at the massive monstrosity that claimed a good portion of her town, and the sea in the nearby distance. It would not in the least surprise me if the Hunger Stones or the Frozen Tomb are real. Excuse me again. Janie sings on the corner, what keeps her from dying? Let them say what they want, she won't stop trying. Oh, you know. She might stumble if they push her around. She might fall, but she'll never lie down. It's not so bad. And I say, way, hey, hey, it's just an ordinary day. It's all your state of mind. At the end of the day, you just got to say it's alright. It's alright, it's alright. As Sunset pulled up to the house where Fluttershy used to live, she saw something that she hadn't expected. A large stretched limousine, its engine running ready to depart at any moment. A few of the neighbors looked on in surprise, and in the center of the ad hoc circus of attention, with a gleeful look on his face, was Discord. He was dressed not as Mr. Discord, i.e. the man Sunset knew to be Fluttershy's father, but Discord, rockstar extraordinaire. As he got out of their car and approached, he walked over and grinned. Hey, so how's it hanging? Not a guy, sorry, so they don't hang. Oh, trust me, they will. Give it a few decades, but when you're old and gray, they'll hang and sag, and you'll want enough plastic surgery done that they'll tighten them until your nipples are somewhere around your back. As he approached, he bent down and whispered in her ear. There are 2 nurse fans packed around the street, obviously for the sake of me and my daughter. I know what you've been going through, and I can sympathize. Really? She asked. He gave her a sitting grin, but continued to whisper, You've been through a lot these past 2 weeks, according to Fluttershy. I want to offer my sympathies on that. The world of celebrity is stifling and hateful, and I hope you can adjust to that quickly. I fear they're not going to leave you be anytime soon. Is that why you're dressing your, work attire? He nodded. You don't think I wear skin-tight alligator leather pants for fun, do you? Honestly, they chafe. He ushered over to the limo, quick as could be. Looking at the camera, he mugged and said, Sorry, just tossing the Tyke in the playpen, you know. Tyke? Sunset blurred, but didn't have time to wait for an answer. She was literally pulling the limousine. She didn't have much time to relax and landed graciously. Rainbow, don't do that, Glenn! Oh, I don't know. I don't mind. Figures you wouldn't. Sorry about that, Sonny. Sunset, after a few seconds, realized where she was. Namely, swayed out around the last of 3 particular girls. Her hair was buried in the lap of a particular pair of ultra-familiar stonewashed jeans. She immediately tried to push herself and roll off her friends at the same time, only getting the cramps board on the left floorboard of the limousine. From above her now forward position, she could hear Pinkie pout, Aww! Pinkie, that was most inappropriate, she heard Rarity and Moss. Even you, some of us like... Don't you dare finish that statement, Sugar! Applejack warned as he reached down to help Sunset up. Hi, care for a seat like normal people? Yeah, thanks, Sunset said, shifting to a seat. Then she looked next to her, saw Fluttershy simping there, giving her a sympathetic look. Sorry about this, Sonny, she said. That thought would be a good way to take the heat off of you and me during our first day back at school. How? Refuge and audacity? Sunset asked. Something like that. Meanwhile, Rainbow was scratching in the back of her head, blushing slightly. Sorry about that, she apologized. Pulled a little harder than expected. No problem, Sunset replied, just glad to be in a seat. You 3 okay? I've been better, Rarity blushed. Though I'm more concerned about you, Sunset, dear. You wouldn't hurt, will you? Nah, I'm fine. Though being dragged into a limousine onto someone's lap is a rather new experience. Oh, I don't know, Pinkie said. A vicious grin came to her face. I can think of a few ways we can line it up. Pinkie, Sunset sighed. Pinkie realized what she was doing, then frowned. Doing it again, aren't I? She said softly. Sorry. Hi, no frowning. Turn that frown upside down, or some cliched comment. Discord says he climbed to the passenger seat next to the limo driver. He had mirror shades and a plastic smile still. Don't know. I'm still working on my PTA credentials or something. A brief frown flitted across his face as he added, Hey, you guys think I need to get a Trapper Keeper or something? Maybe a PG folder or 2? When his comments were met with blank stares, he said, Please don't tell me I'm an analog parent living in a digital world. I don't think my nostalgia can take it. Don't worry about it, Dad, Fluttershy assured him. We get it. Good, because tomorrow I get to do this again with your brother, and I'm sure that's going to be even more awkward. A flicker of awkward, concerned parent watched over his face before he settled back into his goofy, chaotic grin. After a few seconds, he said, I'm going to close the blinders so you'll have time to talk about girl stuff. He made a disgusted face, clearly meant to jest. Well, we're on our way to school. Randy looked at Fluttershy. Will your father be okay? I mean, I understand he still prefers to keep his performance persona separate from his everyday bit. Fluttershy smiled in response and leaned back in the plush seats. It's okay. I think Dad knows now it's really too late to turn back the clock, especially now that the world knows Angel and I exist. I think mostly he's trying to square what the world knows of him with the father he's had to be from afar, and the father he's trying to be now that everything's out. Besides, he told me that he's worked with a chauffeur before, so he's trustworthy. We won't end up with our info spired all over the news, or worse. It was then Sunset noticed that Fluttershy had something underneath her seat. Something caught her attention. What's that, Flares? Oh, you'll see, Fluttershy said with a simple grin. Damn place she was up to something. No, seriously, Flares. I just let go, Sonny, Rainbow advised. So he has a plan and wants it to be a surprise. Personally, I'd like to know what it is myself, but I'm not going to punish her for it. Well, I am for one am surprised, Rarity admitted. I would have never thought the idea of Fluttershy would be insistent about not discussing something. I suppose he has changed over the course of last year. I suppose we all have, Applejack said, so she didn't comment further. Really, Applejack? Because I have been through all 5 books, and if there's one thing I gotta complain about, is that you, Rares, and Rainbow Dash didn't have jack to do. I know I have, for good and for bad, Pinkie admitted. I'm not talking about the way I feel regarding you, Sonny. Her eyes directed towards the sliding pane that the adults in front controlled. Sunset nodded, snapped her fingers. A small burst of silent light came from them. Okay, we have complete privacy, she told him. You can say whatever you want. Okay, what I was saying was, she held her hand, and a spear of bright blue appeared in her palm. I told you already I had to use my powers once before. Sir Cove, Jolly, and the others won't say anything. But they were just happy I ended Rope's Reign of Terror. It makes me wonder what I could do now, and stuff. I never really thought about it much since I focused on other things, but you offered Shimmer training and was he manifested magic. I have far longer training. She gave Sunset a sober look. Think I'm gonna need to know how to control it, because it's a lot stronger than I used to be. And that's the only thing I know. There could be other things as well. Well, that does make sense, given your counterpart is an Earth Pony. A little? Applejack asked. An Earth Pony. Earth as in ground? Not the planet. My native homeworld's name is Equus, though the other races call it something else in their languages. Anyway, I don't remember if I mentioned this before, but Earth Ponies are the ones like most regular horses here. That being said, they're a lot stronger, both in terms of raw power and whatnot. Think of them as, well, superheroes with super strength and the like. That's the average Earth Pony. They're also amazing at growing things. AJ, your counterpart is a farmer, nearly single-handedly, or rather single-hoofedly, runs a farm that would take at least a dozen farmlands here, if not more. Okay, Applejack said, recalling your own time at the farm in the offensive marts. So she's a farmer, I guess she's an Earth Pony as well. That's the case, I might want to get some training too. Did you manifest your powers as well, AJ? Sunset asked. A thoughtful look came across Rarity's face as she sat in her chair. Keep in mind that Twilight, the princess, not your sister, channeled the power of magic to us to deal with your possession. Likewise, you did the same for us when it came to Jellybog. It probably means the magic is deep within us now, if we had to use our powers twice. Yeah, superpowers! I want to stick with what I could do. Make a fly or shit, or shoot laser beams. Rainbow's crowd. I'm a fire my laser! And I'll be interested in seeing what else I could do. Fluttershy admitted. Look, girls, Sunset began. No, don't look girls us, Rarity told her. Sunset, you died literally saving the world. We were knocked unconscious because we could not handle the powers that were channeled through us. If we had been able to control them better, does he think we would have wanted to protect you? The look into Fashionistas' deep blue eyes was one of sorrow. I don't mean the ball did, but we are your friends, your allies. You're a significant other, Pinkie added in a subtle voice, though Sunset heard it. And I suspect you're caught if you ought to be a princess, Rarity continued without missing a beat. We have abilities that few people in this world have, and if we ought to be there for you, mark my words, we do not wish to be left to the side like curios on display. We will require training. I don't presume to speak for the others, but I do speak for myself, Sunset. Look, we can talk about it later, okay? Sunset told him. Oh, which reminds me. She reached into her backpack and handed him one scroll and one envelope. These are for all of you. These scrolls are your official invitation to my coronation back in Equestria, while the envelopes are something I held on for a while now, until the moment I thought the time was right. They're letters from your counterparts to you. To us? Rarity asked as he accepted hers. Sunset nodded. Yes. Keep in mind that they're older than you, about half a decade or so older, if I recall correctly. Fluttershy is the oldest, 24, but their lives are so different in some ways. You're more mature than they are. That's not to say anything against them. They're sweet mares. You'll be glad to know them once you meet them. Well, I will say they'll be worth another money. Given that we know your sister and your counterpart, I guess it wouldn't be too bad. Elsa commented as she slid hers into a backpack. But I think I'll read my letter later. Good idea, Pinkie said. I think we all should. Sunset looked out the window of the limo. Especially since we're here now, she told the others. Game faces, ladies. I think this is going to be a day to remember. She snapped her fingers, releasing the privacy spell. Just in time, the window in the front came down. Okay, next stop. The kitty farm. Everyone will recall with a love-hate mixture years down the road. Discord said with a grin. Oh, I take it you didn't care for yours, sir? Rarity asked him. Nah, growing up in Cardiff was interesting, but not for me, he admitted. He would chuckle and add, maybe I should go back there, CD, and see if the place is still standing. Given that T-Rex and I left long ago, San Diego County must be breathing easier now. Anyway, we're here. In this beautiful life, there's always some sorrow. And it's a double-edged knife, but there's always tomorrow. Oh, you know. It's up to you now if you sink or swim. Just keep the faith that your ship will come in. It's not so bad. And I say, way, hey, hey, it's just an ordinary day. It's all your state of mind. At the end of the day, we just got to say, I could say, way, hey, hey, it's just an ordinary day. It's all your state of mind. At the end of the day, you just got to say, it's alright. It's alright, it's alright. 'Cause I've got a smile on my face, and I've got four walls around me. God, I love that song. As they walked into the school grounds, a lot of girls stood and noticed both Twilight and Octavia in their golden ties, the sign of their status as divas. Behind them, the triplets walked, all three with easy strides, but their eyes are tracking a whole lot of campus, so the trio expected something bad to occur. From the confident stride of the quintet, they projected an air of easy authority, one they had intended, but nonetheless excluded. Without looking at them, Twilight commented, I'm sure it'll be fine, really. Doubt nothing anything's going to happen. Give the summer we've had, Twilight, Adagio commented. I wouldn't put anything past the Pale right now. No kidding, Arya agreed. Especially after that tussle with Suri and Blue Blood. What's it been there for that? Well, if you push Centauri, I'm gonna push right back, Sonata said coldly. Thanks, Sonny, Octavia commented, got a hug for a response. Well, if it isn't the Incest Club. The five girls stopped, facing a group of girls wearing a school uniform, as gray stone ties, indicating them as the student government. At the front of them was the student government president herself, Suri Polymere. Do you want to be bad, so beat it. Oh, sorry, wrong theme I'm going for. Heard you added 6 members to your group, but she's too dumb to go here. Very fair, Suri's best friend and fellow bully said. Then again, I also heard some bullshit about her being a French princess, but I doubt that. A real princess wouldn't have the time to spend with you cunt lickers. Twilight yawned in her faces. Seriously, you've had the whole summer to think these insults up, Vanity? Twilight asked her, a wolf smile on her face. You couldn't take the time to, read? Octavia folded her arms. Might be a little too complex for her, she said in a breezy tone. All those words with multiple syllables, no full-page pictures to illustrate things for her, and nowhere for her to color with her crayons. Next to them, Swiftwind, followed by 2 new girls, appeared. Oh, so you can color. Blood tends to be your favorite color, and mine. No problem, Adagio told her. We'll be happy to have you donate plenty of your own. Sis, you shouldn't pick on the weak and defenseless, Sanaa said, never taking her eyes off Swiftwind. It's not fair to think on people who aren't at our skill level. One of Swift's friends twisted her eyebrows slightly. Sanaa grinned, knowing she struck true. Look, we don't have time for this, Arya argued. Let's make this clear. You don't deserve to be divas, and you barely deserve to be here. You know what's good for you. You're resigning your positions at divas now, and hand it to more capable people. You mean more capable like you, Octavia drawled. Well, I'm glad you came to your senses, Suri commented. So all you have to do is hand over your ties and you're up yours. Suri turned to see Twilight glaring at her, standing there unsurprisingly. Her sister noted that Twilight was not standing there on her own. As formidable she had grown over the years, but instead taking on the regal, chowsy mantle of one of their number that wasn't there. Sunset. Excuse me? The senior asked. There's no excuse for you. You are in no way, shape, or form worthy to be in the student government, much less a diva, Twilight hissed. For starters, you insulted my family. Both my cousins here and my sister who isn't here to defend herself. Not that you prove any sort of challenge for her whatsoever. She would verbally, emotionally, and physically tear you to pieces, Suri. You can't handle a candle to her. And it's because I'm being kind to you I will not tell her. She doesn't need me to fight her battles, but you'll need me not to tell her so you can survive yours. The plum-haired scholar raised a hand and lowered his second finger. Secondly, you abused your own sister's best friend for your own sick, twisted ends. You're lucky as hell that she has a very resilient mind and doesn't remember what you did to her. Or else your ass would be in jail, where he deserves to be. I have no idea why your sister forgave you. You don't deserve her. Twilight's eyes shrank to pinpricks of hate, recalling all that she had done to her sister. It disgusted her. But she hadn't treated Sunset nearly as badly as Suri had with Coco. You bitch! How dare you tell me what to do regarding my own sister? I love Crocodile and I would never... And yet commenting about my cousins, girls I've grown up with and are essentially my own sisters, are perfectly acceptable targets? Suri, hypocrite doesn't even begin to describe you, Twilight shot back. And again, I won't even comment about what you said about my actual sister. Seymour started to look at Suri, face to face. Twilight's indignant eye of Violet boring into his own face once. Let's be clear. I don't want to be a diva. I never asked to be one. And under different circumstances, I would happily stand aside. But now I have a purpose of being a diva. And that purpose is protect the student body from you, Sir Polymere. You are a predator. A viper in the grass who thinks every girl in this school is prey. You know what I had to say to that? Suri looked at Twilight. Her eyes were perfectly challenged. To Castle Viewer, they would have noticed the change. Those around was clear. See, it was no longer Suri's Polymere's playground. She waited for Twilight to make a response. And so, Twilight did. At the hole he went in, Red Eye called the wrinkled skin. Hear what little Red Eye saith. Nag, come up and dance with death. With that, Twilight moved on and past Suri, who looked at the younger girl with impotent anger. She wanted last time to attack Twilight, or more accurately, order her lackeys to do so. But a directive made it clear. Young David was watching. Any attempts by the senior to assert authority would end up being slapped down, or worse. It wasn't until Twilight rounded the corner that Suri screamed in pointless anger. As the girls walked away from that, they instantly heard clapping. Bravo! I just witnessed that, and I must say, it was a worthy performance of a diva and her duties, Miss Sparkle, and it only proves you worthy of the role than you know. Twilight blinked and turned to the speaker. Thanks, Miss Temple. Phoenix Temple stood there, dressed in business attire, befitting a junior teacher in training. She gave the girls and smiled, and adjusted her glasses. It's good to see you guys again. the young woman told her. I was wondering if you would still be able to meet my request. It was Octavia that answered. Twilight told me everything, and while she said her piece, let me say mine. I agree with her. We Davis are here to help our fellow students, and if someone needs us, that's why the job exists. We're with them, Adagio said. Whether we need to be muscle or soldier cryon, we're with them. Behind her, both Arya and Sonata nodded in agreement. I'm glad to hear that, Phoenix then poked her head into the classroom. You can come out now, Ribby. Do I have to? A familiar voice asked. You promise to stop calling me that. Phoenix marched off. Fine, Abby. To the girl's surprise, a girl came out of the classroom. She was dressed in a school uniform, wore a raspberry-colored beret, and was clearly a freshman, and used a cane to walk. Her stiff gait measured by her lame leg, but despite her tumultuous attitude, as she tried to hide behind her own hair, it was clearly her, or rather, her human counterpart. Girls, this is my cousin, Raspberry Belle, Phoenix said, or RB as he prefers to be called. Raspberry, to her surprise, all but hid behind Phoenix as she looked to the others. Ribby, this is Twilight Sparkle, Octavia Melody, Adagio Dazzle, Arya Blaze, and Sonata Dusk. They're all your cousins, but we're raised together as sisters, so you understand your situation. Raspberry looked up at Phoenix with eyes that radiated worry, fear on the first with tears. Ribby, I'm a part-time teacher here. Well, not that. I'm attending classes at my own college. I can't be here all the time for you. Phoenix was modest. It'll be good for you to find friends your own age. And I won't leave you in care of Twilight and sisters if I can't trust them completely. RB? Raspberry looked at Twilight, who offered her hand. I've heard a lot about you, Twilight lied smoothly. And I don't think Rio's cousin would be this adorable. Really? Raspberry asked, her voice shaking. Stick with us. We'll make sure you're okay, Octavia said, confident in the older sister tone she had picked up from her years with both timelines. We'll watch over her, Theo. We promise. Thanks, girls. Phoenix said as the warning bell chimed, indicating the class had started in 15 minutes. Well, that's the warning bell. I need to get teacher pre-brief. I'll see you in the opening assembly, okay? So, RB, where's your first class? Twilight asked easily, but was met with silence. RB? And Twilight asked again. You don't... Twilight looked at the girl with nearly tears. You'll have to watch over me because Theo asked. She said, her voice sounding like someone barely controlled. I know I'm a bother and a problem and... Arya went over and hugged the shriveling girl, digging her a warm embrace. You remind me of someone I know, the middle triplet said softly. Always worry about everything. But my sisters and I told her okay. Because if you have friends, you have people who stand with you through thick and thin. You mean that? Sonata put a gentle hand on Raspberry's shoulder. She does. We look out for our friends. We're not doing this because Theo asked us to or even because it's the right thing to do. We're doing it because we want to. Right, sis? So yes, giving an even look at Adagio. Adagio, despite her hatred of Raspberry's counterpart, couldn't hold it against this girl. She took a deep breath and said, You're right. We're amongst friends, RB. And friends don't steer you wrong. Thank you. The girl sobbed, starting to suddenly cry. The anxiety too much for her to bear. The five sisters stood and looked at the other students who were wondering what was up. But the moment they saw the divas in the triplets, they either thought the problem was solved or not worth inquiring in further.